right now on WHSV News 3.
I learned that I'm much stronger and more resilient than I ever could have imagined.
This morning on Daybreak, survivors, runners, family, and friends showing today we are all Boston strong. Today marking the 1-year anniversary of the bombings.
Plus, have you seen this man? Investigators in Page County say they believe this person robbed a bank Monday morning, and they say he could be armed and dangerous. Daybreak starts right now.
You're watching WHSV Daybreak.
Good morning. It is Tuesday, April 15th. I'm Tom Dempsey.
And thanks for starting your day with us. I'm Morgan Donnelly. Jay and Brendan are here with us as well. A local agency in our area needs your help with serving meals to the elderly.
How you can help Meals on Wheels starting this week. That's coming up on Daybreak. And Brendan, what's new this morning?
The government in Ukraine trying to figure out how to handle protesters in the eastern part of the country as gunmen still in control of several buildings. The Ukrainian government asking for the United Nations help. Why that's not expected to work. All of those details when I join you with what's new this morning in just a few minutes.
All right, Brendan, sounds good. Right now we'll head over to Jay Webb in the First Alert Weather Center. Jay, you gave us fair warning yesterday, but I still woke up early this morning to try and see that red moon. Definitely not going to be happening with this morning's weather. No chance.
Yeah, we're completely socking in with the clouds, low clouds, and some light, if not moderate rain falling across the area. We'll step on over and show you a look at First Alert Doppler radar. We're actually seeing some lighter showers across western Augusta County right now. But if you go up into Shenandoah County, Page County, even here in the city of Harrisonburg and throughout Rockingham County, we've got some moderate rain falling. Tracking some more heavy rain across southern Virginia right now. We'll track that toward the area over the next little bit. Needless to say, an inconvenient weather day for this Tuesday. Temperatures starting mild in the lower 60s in a lot of spots, but getting colder and windy throughout the day. A complete look at your First Alert forecast in just 10 minutes.
All right, Jay, thank you very much. Right now we start our morning rush with everything you need to know before you head out to work or school.
Across the country this morning, people will come together to remember the victims of the Boston Marathon bombings happening 1 year ago today, killing 3 people and injuring more than 260. On April 15th, 2013, 2 bombs left at the marathon's finish line, rattled spectators, the runners, and the country.
Right now, Dzhokhar Tsarnaev is in jail awaiting trial after he was charged with planting the bombs.
But today's about the victims and supporting them as they continue to recover. The anniversary will be marked with several tributes and runs to show people are still Boston strong. And today our community comes together to support the victims of the Boston Marathon.
WHSV's Nicole D'Antonio spoke with runners from the Shenandoah Valley Track Club about how they will reflect and how they are giving back today. Nicole?
Well, today, runners across the valley will dedicate their run to last year's victims and to those returning to Boston this year. Now, here's the plaque our community sent to Boston right after the tragedy. And today, there will be a moment of silence before they start their run. This year, the Shenandoah Valley Track Club hosts a race to symbolize moving forward. Organizers say this race is for those who were injured in the bombings. They will also collect money to help build a wheelchair-friendly fitness center in honor of the bombing victims, proving there is life after an injury like that.
As runners, whether you know someone or not, when you pass each other, you wave, you're a community. Boston, what happened last year was terrible. People trained for years and years and years, and then it's wiped out because of a terrorist attack.
The race will take place on Friday, April 25th at 5:45 in the Grand Caverns Park in Grottos. And coming up in 30 minutes, I'll bring you the story of one local runner who was in Boston last year running and will return this year, creating triumph over tragedy.
And WHSV will have coverage throughout today of the tributes taking place across the country.
ABC will also air a special report today at 2:35 to mark the anniversary of the bombings, which happened at exactly 2:49 1 year ago today. We're coming up on 5 minutes past the hour. Today is the deadline to get your taxes into the IRS. If you do not get them in today and miss the deadline, you will get hit with penalties. About 3/4 of people get a refund from the government. So if you do not get your taxes in, and don't owe anything, you won't face a penalty. You have 3 years to collect the money the government owes you. In 2011, the IRS says people left $760 million in unclaimed taxes, meaning after today, you cannot claim the money you left unclaimed in 2011.
Investigators continue to track a crime happening at a bank in Luray on Monday. Investigators say they continue to search for a bank robber who may be armed and dangerous. This happening Monday morning at the Pioneer Bank in Luray. Investigators say a man walked up to the teller in the bank and slid a note across the counter. The teller got the note, took the money out of the drawer, and then she sounded the alarm. And if you want to take a look at the surveillance video from the bank, you can do so on WHSV.com. We have 3 videos from 3 different angles within the bank showing this. It's on our web channel, WHSV.com. Today, the Overland Park Police Department in Kansas will discuss the deadly shooting at a Jewish center on Sunday.
And later today, Frazier Glenn Cross, who's accused of shooting inside the center, will be in court.
WHSV's Brendan Ponton with the latest information into our newsroom overnight about the investigation. Brendan.
On the eve of Passover, police say Frazier Glenn Cross started shooting. And this morning, we continue to learn more about his background, including ties to past organizations. Investigators say lawyers will prosecute the shootings as a hate crime. According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, Cross founded 2 white supremacist groups. And this morning, we also know more about the victims. A 14-year-old boy and his grandfather were shot outside the community center. And then a woman was shot while visiting her mother at a retirement home. While investigators say the Jewish community center and retirement complex were targeted, none of the 3 people who died were Jewish.
This morning, we're tracking a crime from last June when Stanton police say a man was stabbed by an 18-year-old. Police arrested John Lee Alphin Jr. and charged him with malicious wounding the next day. Luckily, police say the victim's injuries were not that bad. Today, Alphin is in court for his trial. Alphin's trial starts at 11 this morning in Stanton. We hope to have an update on our evening newscasts starting at 5. The WHSV web team will also post updates online at WHSV.com and on our Facebook page, WHSV TV3. 7 minutes past the hour right now. In our area, there is a good chance to be a good neighbor to people in our community.
The Valley Program for Aging Services is looking for extra volunteers to deliver meals to seniors in Harrisonburg and Rockingham County. The Meals on Wheels volunteer coordinator is looking for volunteers on Monday and Thursday morning. Each route will take about an hour and a half.
You can find the information on how to volunteer on WHSV.com. Just click on our Find It button. 8 minutes past the hour on this Tuesday morning. Today, and for one day only as of right now, Google will sell Google Glass.
These people will now be able to buy those pair of glasses. They're kind of interesting looking. Some people call them the wearable computer. It allows you to take pictures. You can check Facebook without having to pick up your cell phone anymore and search things on Google. It'll even tell you where to go with Google Maps.
The glasses cost, though, $1,500. But today, Google will throw in some free frames or sunglasses to try and sway you to buy them. We posted a picture of the glasses on our Facebook page, WHSV TV3, and asked you at home if you plan to buy Google Glass. Well, Bruce saying, I have a pair I received through the Explorer program. The first batch had some issues, as does most new tech in the testing phase, but the latest pair has impressed me. Very expensive, but a cool gadget if you can afford them.
Claire says, nope. Us regular folk have bills to pay and most likely don't have an extra $1,500 laying around. I know I don't, but if I did, though, I still wouldn't. My cell phone works just fine. Remember, we post news and weather updates on our Facebook page, also stories you may be talking about at home. Join the conversation on any of the stories we post on our Facebook page. Just search WHSV TV3, like our page, and let us know at home what you think.
Bottom of the hour right now, meteorologist Jay Webb, grab your umbrella and your coat as you leave today. Yeah, you might not need the coat now, and you may not need the umbrella later, but switch around the day parts, and that's when you're going to need those extra items with you today. Let's go ahead and take a look at the radar. We've got some rain heading up and down the Shenandoah Valley this morning, some areas of heavier rain, so umbrellas needed this morning, even this afternoon. It's very mild right now, but with temperatures in the 60s, we're eventually going to see those fall to the upper 40s by the time you head home, so getting cool cooler and windy later on today. More on your first alert forecast when I see you in about 10 minutes.
We're coming up on 29 minutes to the hour right now. Around the nation, today marks 1 year since the Boston Marathon bombings. Across the country, people will be remembering those affected by what happened.
A time when many people celebrate overcoming the challenging run and crossing the finish line, only to have their experience and excitement cut short. This morning, a new flag waves over Boston Medical Center, a place where some of the victims got necessary treatment. And you can see that new flag saying Boston Medical Center strong going up on Monday.
John Odom, who ran in the race last year, helped raise the flag. He was at the marathon finish line last year to watch his daughter cross the finish line. The first bomb tore apart John's legs. Today, though, 1 year later, Odom is walking. Now he makes sure to thank first responders and doctors for their hard work.
I didn't know if I'd ever walk again. But I stand here today in front of you to thank you personally for saving my life.
This year, John plans to be at the finish line at this year's marathon, being held next Monday. How about that? Good for him.
Yes, very good for him. So many of the other victims, too, still recovering.
But now we turn our attention to the runners taking part in this year's race in Boston.
This year, one woman is gearing up to compete again in hopes of crossing the finish line in memory of those who couldn't.
WHSV's Nicole D'Antonio caught up with her before the woman left for Boston. Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning. Well, this picture was taken right before the bombs went off. And Carol Clark says she will never forget April 15th. And rather than let fear keep her from competing, she's racing again this year to show we can overcome tragedy. Every runner dreams of one day making it to Boston to compete in the Boston Marathon. Carol Clark says crossing the finish line was a dream come true. But what happened next was anything short of a happy ending.
The first sound that I heard, it sounded like a cannon, and you could actually feel the boom.
Holding her medal in hand as it happened, she says she couldn't help but think about 9/11 as she looked to the sky to see if we were under attack. Now that the dust has settled, she realizes she has to end on a high note.
We wanted to create triumph over tragedy, so that's why you have to go back again. You got to see it through, finish this chapter.
So she tied her shoes and went back to running nearly 75 miles a week, even during lunch breaks at work. As she packs for the big day, she says strength and unity will be the key in helping her cross the finish line again.
We can overcome all this stuff, you know. Terror really stinks, but we're stronger and better than all that. We really are.
While last year was about making time, she says this year is about taking back the race and completing the race with a happy ending, showing triumph over tragedy. And a change this year for Clark is what she can bring to the race. Now, because of the bombings, new security measures are in place. For example, no more backpacks, and there are restrictions on the size water bottles you can bring. Tom, Morgan.
All right, Nicole, thank you for bringing us that story. WHSV will have coverage throughout today of the tributes taking place all across the country.
ABC will also air a special report today at 2:35. Just before and ending just before 3 to mark the anniversary of the bombings, the first bomb happening at 2:49. In one day, a Chick-fil-A in Waynesboro, with your help, raised money to help the family of former Waynesboro Reserve Police Captain Kevin Quick.
This morning, we're catching up on the total amount of the money that was raised yesterday. After help from good neighbors, we know the restaurant will give $2,000 to the Quick family. The event happened all day yesterday at Chick-fil-A. People had to bring in a flyer or mention Kevin Quick to have 20% of what they spent at Chick-fil-A go to the family.
And as Tom just mentioned, that money will go to his family, including his infant daughter, Gabriella. This coming after police make another arrest. This is the 7th person in connection with Quick's disappearance. As you see here, Kuli Yuri faces gang participation in a criminal act charges.
6 other people remain behind bars after Quick's body was found in Goochland County. None of the people, though, are facing murder charges. This morning, we're checking in on an effort by schools in Rockingham County and the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office to reduce the number of careless driving incidents and school bus accidents. The Sheriff's Office reports 26 violations since the school board approved installing the stop arm cameras. You can see them right here. The cameras record any motion passing the bus from the front to the rear. At a presentation to the board, members of the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office say since April 1st, their office looked into 52 accidents and issued 26 violations, costing people $250 each.
Tracking the arrest of Aaron Dennison, a man facing several charges after break-ins at 3 different convenience stores in the area. This is Aaron Dennison, who you see here on your screen, he is from Stanley and faces multiple charges, including multiple counts of breaking and entering. According to the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office, Dennison, along with Robert Boyd, broke in to the 33 Express on Raleigh Pike, the Linville store on Kratzer Road, and the Grandals Glenview Market in Singers Glen. Dennison's hearing is this morning at 9 in Rockingham County General District Court. As soon as we get information about the hearing, we will let you know on the air and online at WHSV.com.
23 minutes to the hour on this Tuesday morning. The first use of a sub to find missing Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 ended early yesterday. The new details are now coming forward this morning. The Bluefin 21, which you see right there, is now back in the Indian Ocean, though, hoping to find the plane. The sub is programmed to go about 100 feet over the ocean floor. A chart shows the area the sub was searching was about 2.5 miles deep. But it turns out the sub was deeper than expected. It was about 3 miles deep. The Bluefin searched the area for about 6 hours before coming up 10 hours early.
The Virginia Department of Education will unveil a new series of online Spanish classes for students today. The new virtual classes help with all levels of Spanish and is available this fall for students to take. The department believes the classes will be popular in rural school districts. A nationally recognized teacher, John Connor, helping to develop the course for students here in the Valley to use. Well, if you looked to the sky last night, you probably saw a very, very dark sky.
Yeah, unfortunately, but with all that cloud cover, it was hard to see the stars or the moon. Many people in our area missing out on that rare blood moon. I really wanted to see what it looked like. Here is some footage, though, if you did not get to see it. Pretty cool stuff. The total lunar eclipse happening around 3 this morning and ending before 4:30. The lunar eclipse happens when the Earth, the moon, and the sun are in perfect alignment.
It's a rare event and usually only happens every couple of years, but in the next year it will actually happen 4 times. This was the first one in the series of 4. The next one you can catch on October 8th. Hopefully Jay will promise us clear skies then.
Yes, definitely. And then next year on April 4th and September 28th. And hopefully next time we will actually get to see the moon without cloud cover. I checked just to make sure this morning when I woke up.
You looked up and you got a raindrop.
Yeah, man, exactly.
I did the same thing. Like 3:02, I ran outside and looked around.
Nope.
Typically, October would feature more in the way of clear skies, at night. Certainly we can have that this time of the year, but we can have April showers, which we have this morning, and usually in October things are a little bit more dry and quiet around here, so let's give it another try.
You're saying there's a chance in
I'm
October. Okay,
so
gotcha.
You're saying there's a chance. That's right, that's right. Rain coming down this morning. Most of it's fairly light now, but we are tracking some heavy rain just to our south. Take your umbrella, as again, we've got April showers on this inconvenient weather day. Right now 61, the high of 63, and that's really going to occur anytime. We're going to turn much cooler and windy by the afternoon.
And I've been tracking the latest stories from overnight and ahead. Breaking news, a foreign ambassador kidnapped in Libya. Plus, Oscar Pistorius back on the stand this morning in South Africa. What the prosecution trying to do today. Daybreak continues with what's new this morning in 90 seconds.
We're coming up 13 minutes till top of the hour, and time for some of the stories we've been following overnight.
Here's Brendan Pontom with a look at this morning's headlines. Brendan.
New this morning, Oscar Pistorius back on the stand once again this morning as the prosecution ending cross-examination this morning during his murder trial in South Africa. The prosecution trying to point out inconsistencies in Pistorius' testimony. Pistorius maintains he thought his girlfriend was an intruder when he shot her. The prosecutor says, though, that's a lie.
You are thinking of a version constantly, and you're not dealing with a question. You're constantly thinking of a version.
Pistorius said that was not true. Overnight, an ambassador from Jordan was kidnapped in Libya. It happened earlier this morning in Tripoli. Leaders in Libya say masked gunmen attacked the car of the ambassador, shooting at his car, hurting his driver, and then forcing the ambassador out at gunpoint. The country has seen a lot of turmoil in recent years after the longtime dictator was overthrown. Cleanup in Mississippi this morning. A storm with strong winds knocked over about 30 campers in a coastal area. You can see here some of the aftermath from the storm. Police say there were no reports of injuries or deaths, but they are going from trailer to trailer to make sure no one is trapped. Winds reached speeds of 50 miles an hour. It appears the RVs were not tied down. The area also saw heavy rains causing flooding.
Nogales High School has been selected to represent the great state of California and perform in New York City.
There you go. They're going to Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. That's a high school marching band in California. Reacting to the news, the band is one of 10 chosen out of hundreds to be in the parade and the only band from the entire West Coast. So pretty big celebration from them. I know JMU actually went there
I was
last
about
year.
to say, I hope they get to go back, or somebody from this area gets to participate.
Yeah.
Looking ahead already to the Macy's Day Parade. 5 minutes to the hour on this Tuesday morning, and we start our morning rush with everything you need to know before you head out to work or school.
Across the country this morning, people will come together to remember the victims of the Boston Marathon bombings happening 1 year ago today. On April 15, 2013, 2 bombs left at the marathon's finish line rattled spectators, the runners, and the country.
Right now, Dzhokhar Tsarnaev is in jail awaiting trial after he was charged with planting the bombs.
But today is about the victims and supporting them as they continue to recover. The anniversary will be marked with several tributes and runs to show people are still Boston strong. WHSV's Nicole D'Antoni with how people in our area are remembering the victims.
Dedicate their run to last year's victims and to those returning to Boston this year. Now here's the plaque our community sent to Boston right after the tragedy. And today will be a moment of silence before they start their run. This year, the Shenandoah Valley Bike Club will host a race to symbolize moving forward. Organizers say this race is for those who were injured in the bombings, and they will also collect money to help build a wheelchair-friendly fitness center in honor of the bombing victims, proving there is a life after an injury like that. Now, the race will take place on Friday, April 25th at 5:45 in the Grand Caverns Park and Grottos.
All right, good morning. It's raining outside. Grab your umbrella as you head out this morning. We've had about half of an inch of rain, a little bit more than that in several areas this morning. Here's a look at First Alert Doppler radar. You can see the yellows and the oranges. You can also track along over at WHSV.com and go to our interactive radar. The heaviest rain, thankfully, is just along and to our east. Look out to the west. Wow, we've got some snow coming down out there close to Columbus, Ohio, Lexington, Kentucky right now. Just a signature of the colder air that's going to start to move in here over the next couple of hours. We might see a few snowflakes in our higher elevations. 7-day forecast. Today is all about the changes. Rain, inconvenient weather day for your Tuesday. Falling temperatures. We're in the 60s now. We'll be in the 40s by the time you head home.
Investigators continue to search for a bank robber who may be armed and dangerous in Page County. This happening Monday morning at the Pioneer Bank in Luray. Investigators say a man walked up to a teller in the bank, slid a note across the counter. The teller got the note, took money out of the drawer, and then she sounded the alarm. We've posted all that information on our website, WHSV.com, if you'd like to look at the surveillance video and contact the police there.
And coming up on Good Morning America, they're going to have more coverage of today's anniversary of the Boston bombings. Also, ABC is going to have a special report later this afternoon, 2:35, right? Mm-hmm. With a moment of silence coming up for the victims of that bombing. And also, they're going to have a report about a new study that says couples who are hungry are more likely to fight. So I guess it probably makes sense.
It makes total sense,
yeah.
Yes. I'm ready to fight this morning.
Well, thanks so much for joining us this morning. We'll see you back here at 7:25. And again, our thoughts with the victims of the bombings.